Hey everyone, this is some guy named John, and I thought that I would give appreciation to the other type of animal that I keep, which, as of right now, is just snakes, but in general, is reptiles. I love reptiles. When I was younger, I was able to get a bearded dragon who I named Buttercup, and she lived for about 3 years. She wasn't given a proper setup. I was very young at the time, so it didn't end up going too well. But since that day, I have vowed that for every reptile I get, I'll make sure I care for them correctly to ensure that they'll live as long as they are supposed to. And the more recent of my two snakes is this guy. This is Loverboy, my male Kenyan Sand Boa. Probably one of the best beginner snakes you could get. Right now, he's just kind of moving on my bed. It was the time of the day that I decided to get him out. I won't be able to show my other snake on camera for a few days, as today is feeding day. But she is a Texas rat snake, and she gets significantly larger than these guys. Patchkin specifically is a wild type, so this is just how they normally look. You can say that he technically isn't a true, just bog standard, as he is het snow. So if bred, he could make albino anery or albino anery mixes, which is what snows are. But this guy is without a doubt one of the favorite things I own. He is just absolutely adorable. But one thing about him is that I've only had him for about a week or so, so I'm not too content on just holding him. I want to give him time to get into his enclosure, but I also want to make sure he's used to handling. I plan on making a care guide at some point, but for now, this is mainly just a meet the snake, and here's the general setup. And yeah, this is Patchkins. I got him as a Christmas present as I was setting up for Kenyan Sand Boa, and there was a male at a local pet store. My parents were nice and bought him for me. Absolutely gorgeous. He's about a year and a half old, a foot long, which he doesn't have that much more length to add for the most part. Oh, he's trying to dig into the comforter. For the most part, you're gonna see this guy get thicker as time goes on. But for the most part, these guys tend to stay like maximum of 16 or so inches. They are one of the smallest snakes that are readily available in captivity. And other than, say, the hognose or rubber boa, which arguably need bigger than what you can house one of these guys in, these guys are perfect if you don't have a lot of space but want a snake. they're active when they want to be, but more often than not, they're just going to be underground. They need a lot of substrate. Go figure, the sand boa likes to be in the substrate, but they don't like sand. They need a sand soil mix. Where they come from in Kenya is very much a dense sandy soil that can keep burrows, and if you can make something like that for them, it will be perfect. And I'll actually quickly pause this video so that I can show you him going back into his enclosure. I had to dig him out, and because I had to dig him out, I don't want to keep him as long as if he was already out. It's a kind of rule I have where if the snake itself is active, I'll keep it out longer than if the snake is just kind of there. Alright, So Lover Boy is kept in here. This is a 18 by 18 by 18 enclosure. It is a naturalistic setup. At some point I want to make it bioactive. See, here he is right here. You can tell he is very much excited to get back into the dirt. And because these guys only get to about 16 inches, this is probably like the best snake, as long as you get a male, as these are very sexually dimorphic, and females get like 3 times the size of a male. A male Kenyan Sand Boa is probably the perfect and one of the only snakes you should get for an 18 by 18 footprint. And he really wants to dig into this cork bark. They don't need a lot of enrichment beyond things they can dig into, but they do like hides. Most often he'll be under this little water bowl, but I do sometimes find him in here, and he, as you can tell, he loves to use the cork bark. Just an itty bitty thing. He's not that, like, I don't think he's super small, but compared to the one who lives in here, which this is the home as of right now for Goog, who is the rat snake. She has a much larger and is eventually going to need an even bigger enclosure. And this little guy. But I adore him. I wanted to post a snake video this week, and I thought no better time than now, since I was holding him and I want to give him more time to get used to his surroundings. If you like the snake content, there will be more in the future. It's not going to be as common as the fish content, but that's simply because I own 2 snakes and I own 6 fish tanks. Plus I plan on posting other stuff here eventually. But as of right now, this is kind of just an animal channel. You just want to see random videos of fish and random ones where I sometimes talk about them. And yeah, stay tuned. Thank you for watching if you watched this far. And I will see you in another video.